right, so moving on to the final part of this article here, and this is addressing the final year Blood War arc. We see Yuha. I want to ask you a question, James. How do you pronounce Yuha's name?
Or watch.
Yuhach? Okay, I've heard so many different. I just say
Yuha. You watch or Yuha Bach.
Yuha Bach. Yeah, it's a play on. I think what Kubo's trying to go for is like Yahweh, like the name of the Christian God.
Yeah.
And because that starts with a Y, and I think that's what he's going for.
Yeah.
But I've heard so many different pronunciations of it; it's ridiculous.
Yeah.
Or it could just be like Yamaya and just start calling him YH. Okay. All right. So Bleach is very gradually coming to a close in the 1,000-Year Blood War arc. By the way, what's your bet on when the series is going to end? I'm going to say by the end of 2016, but
I want to say mid 2017 or end 2017.
Mid 2017.
I think there's still too much to go on.
Yeah, I don't think it's going to last much more than a year. If so, maybe very early 2017. But yeah, that's just my personal opinion.
Yeah.
Let's see. Somebody we were discussing this in my live stream the other day, and I think someone said it should end at chapter 700. I'm thinking, well, if
not going to happen.
Yeah, well, I mean, it's not impossible depending on how he does it, because if you look at this is like the final battles, like with the Elite Stern Raiders. After the Elite Stern Raiders have all been defeated, all you really have left is Hashwolf, Uryu, and Yuha, and you have to fit the flashback in there somewhere. It would be pretty tight, but it could possibly be done. It just depends.
Here's the stuff we've still got to go through. Urahara, Shady Nature is going to be untold. Yuda Witch's Past will be told supposedly.
Yeah.
Sunshui's Barncard, which is in the middle of. Shunsui and the Pink Yori.
Yeah.
Rangiku's past apparently will be key to the arc. Don't know how.
Yeah.
What happened in the 17 months after Ichigo lost his Shinigami powers will be told.
Where'd you read that at? That seems like odd.
This was in an article supposedly, and I'll probably.
Wait! I think I remember reading that, like a thing that's going to come in the like Kubo was talking about all the stuff. Okay.
Hiyori's got a thing, and I kind of believe that. By the way, one of the panels was shown of her putting the Shihak show on.
Yeah, that was kind of like a big deal. Like she was kind of like disgusted or like a little bit like lamenting putting it back on. Yeah. That she didn't really want to. I liked Love. Doesn't include. I just wanted to say I liked it when Love put his on because he had his he just put it over his tracksuits. Yeah. I'm like, that's how you do it in style, Love. Fuck it, I want to see. I want to see his Bankai. He's the only. He's a captain and we haven't seen it yet.
That'd be awesome.
Yeah. What was oh crap? What was his Bankai's name called? I mean his Shikai.
I don't even ask me.
Yeah. We're Bleach experts, right? We know this shit.
We don't want to let the people know. They can go research that.
Yeah, it was. I think it was Slam. That was the release command. Crap, we're gonna get so many messages about this now.
He's on the Wikipedia right now.
Yeah, I'm not on the Wikipedia. I'm trying to remember. I remember the title of the. I can remember the title of the fucking chapter. It was the Metal Cudgel Flinger, but I cannot remember what it was actually called. Damn it! It's been so long since he's used it. Anyway. Okay. Focused on an all-out war between the Soul Society and a race known as the Quincy. It's not as bad as the previous arc, but it still suffers greatly from a lack of strong characters. Because of its nature... Lack of strong characters.
Lack of strong characters. Are you keeping?
Well, it's all the strong... It's pretty much... I don't even know how you really consider that, because pretty much every character that's been involved up to this point that hasn't been dead pretty much shows up in this arc. So I'm like, are they all not strong characters?
Apparently they're weak, but okay.
Okay, because of its nature... He might be talking about the Quincy's, because he goes into the Stern Raider a little bit here. Because of its nature as Bleach's last storyline, pretty much every Soul Reaper character has been engaged in a life-threatening fight at some point in the war, with many being killed off. Many being killed off. Like, a lot of the regular freaking just Shinigami fodder have died.
Yeah, exactly.
That's like that. Technically, if we're thinking about the death toll, it's like over like 6,000 right now, but most of those are just regular. You know, we don't care about them.
Exactly. Nobody knows who they are.
Yeah. But the only ones that have been named, let's see, Chojuro died, Unohana died. Actually, if you think, okay, well maybe you might be onto something here, because if Kensei and Rose are really dead, that's a Ukitake, we don't know about him.
He's unconscious, I'm not sure.
Yeah, Nemu's dead. Alright, I can see maybe where he's going with this, with many being killed off, if he's just talking about like the Gote specifically.
For a war, I don't see that as many, I don't know.
Yeah, maybe he's just talking about main characters. I don't know.
Yeah, okay.
But yeah, if you just look at it like that, then a good chunk are gone now, or rendered unable to fight, like Sanji. And Sanji's not dead, but can't really fight. Unfortunately, only about half of these 25-plus characters have been fleshed out enough to anyone care about their fates. First, I'm not going to go into what 25 characters he's really specifying here. The first victims of the war was a character with literally 2 lines of dialogue. Okay, Chojuro had more than 2 lines of dialogue.
Yeah,
wait, no.
He did.
He had 4.
He had 4.
I like Chojuro. I was pissed when he died because I'm thinking like he's the fucking lieutenant of the 1st Division. Kubo's gonna do something with this guy.
That had the potential to be captain, but he chose not to.
He had the potential. Yes, but this is all stuff we found out post mortem, and that's something else he said. He said earlier in the article, like they only get a flashback right before they die. Not Chojuro. He gets a flashback and all that shit after he's been dead. And to this day, I still think that Kubo, because he brings up right here, he killed off Chojuro because his death was treated as a game-changing, anyone-can-die moment. So Kubo was basically like looking at all his Shinigami that he created, and he's like, okay, I have to kill somebody off here to make it seem like, oh, shit's getting real with this final arc. But he picks the one. He picks the one that like has the least development out of all of the Gotei, and that I think is what he did. Like that's the reason I think he went with it.
Well, wasn't that? I'd say like for me thinking about it, that was more impactful. It was like Sasuke. He had the ability to become a captain. He had a bark. It's like that was kind of shocking.
At the actual chapter where he died, it was like not so much of a big deal. But then after you found out all that shit about him, it's like, oh well, he was that strong, and the Quincy's managed to kill him that easily.
I say you could go either good or bad.
So hopefully, I mean, once again, if you were really interested in like of Chojuro's character, like I was, and you really wanted to find out more about him, sucks for you. And I was pissed as well. I'm right along with you.
Possibly in the flashback.
Yeah, we found out later in the flashback. But I'm assuming Kubo already had that set up before he died. Like he knew what he was going to tell. And he had one of the cooler a lightning Bankai. I mean, really? You're not going to show us anything?
Actually, do you think he was one of the original Gotei 13?
In the flashback, it was like he was Yamamoto's like student. Or he always wanted to be basically Yamamoto. He had this odd like obsession with Yamamoto for some reason. Like he just wanted to be his right-hand man. I don't know why he had this obsession. But I don't. Yeah. I don't think he would have became a member of the Gotei because that's what he always wanted to be, is just Yamamoto's assistant. He is the Hashwalt to Yuha, you know, the Gin to Aizen before he stabs him in the heart and tries to kill him with a virus. Yeah, that wasn't a good analogy. Maybe the Tozen to the Aizen. Okay, that's better.
There we go.
That's better. Okay. While its uninteresting heroes crippled the arc, it truly suffered most from a lack of compelling villains. Okay, here we're talking about the Stern Ritter. Some of the Quincy's had outlandish designs even by Bleach standards. Okay, a cyborg, a Thor look-alike, a guy with 2 tongues, a mustachioed wrestler in a pink luchador mask, a hairy man in a diaper, a giant sentient hand, and a literal brain in the jar. Okay, so you're pointing out their really crazy designs even by Bleach standards. Okay. I don't know why Nyanzel's in that list, the guy with 2 tongues, because have you seen a character by... Okay, there's a character in Bleach. Let me see if you can guess him. He's probably one of the most weirdest design characters, not just in Bleach, but just in anime in general. Like, if I was going to make a top 10 list of like the weirdest character designs, he would probably be in that list. You know who I'm talking about?
I have two in mind.
He's in Espada. It's in Espada.
Zombie?
No, Aranjero.
Aranjero.
Yeah, it's literally
with that whole Kyber thing, and he got all them tentacles.
Yeah, that's pretty weird too. Yeah, but then we have, we had Aranjero, who is basically just humanoid appearance, no head, dome, 2 little just balls that have mouths and eyes, floating in this goo, and his arms are like octopus tentacles that can like absorb things. Okay, that was a character that appeared long before this. Okay, so an outlandish appearance even by Bleach standards. Aranjero, Wonder Weiss too. Wonder Weiss. Okay, yeah, in in a Resurrection, it was pretty weird. But I would say Aranjero sets the bar for the weird design characters. By that standard, a Thor look-alike. You know, basically, Gerald Valkyrie, not that weird. Nyanzel, not that weird. I'll give it to you when you say BG9, because he was a cyborg. We never really got anything like that before this in Bleach. Maste Masculine, yeah, he was pretty crazy. Also dispensing the fact that he's German. The Quincy is supposed to be German origin, yet he's a Mexican luchador. I still don't get that. A hairy man in a diaper. Okay, Pepe, I gotta give Pepe to you. Yeah. Let's not go back to Pepe.
Please.
Oh God, I repressed so many memories with him.
Oh God.
Okay.
Can you have a picture of it?
Someone gave me okay, how did this go again? All right. So Yushiro, Yoruichi's younger brother. I didn't like him, and I kept saying that I hope he dies. And I think I threw out. I think I threw out like a random arbitrary chapter number. I think it was chapter 617. I said if he's not dead by chapter 617, which was also coincidentally the chapter Eisen showed back up again. So whatever.
Yeah.
But yeah, I was like, if he's not dead by chapter 617, I'll do like these penalty games. And one of them was like kiss a picture of Pepe. So I had to go out, print out a picture of Pepe, got it framed, and I have it. It's still downstairs.
But the best moment in your career, wasn't it?
That was a crazy review because I had to do so many penalty games. I danced to Kesha's Take It Off, and I also what did I do? I covered myself in silly string at one point. Yeah, that was a crazy. Oh, and I had to read an Ichigo or a Hime fan fiction. Yeah, that was that was a thing. But yeah, but that'll give it to you. Pepe, I'll give you Pernida with the giant hand. That certainly is pretty weird, and a literal brain in a jar. I mean, we didn't really find that out until the very end of the fight, though. Gremmy had a pretty normal appearance up until...
And that was all 1 or 2 panels in a chapter?
It was, and we didn't find it out until the end of the fight, but he did have a pretty normal appearance up till that. Still want to know the backstory on that guy, though.
Wait, so hold up. So, you complain about a brain in a jar, but you're going to talk about 2 balls and no jar in the wrong color.
Yeah, he doesn't bring up Aranero, so I don't know why he means, even by Bleach standards, but yeah, I want to know the brain in the jar backstory. Did like Yuha walk into like a scientific laboratory and be like, "Oh, cool, a brain. I give you the power of the V." See how that works? I don't know.
Yeah.
He does bring up a good point that none of those Stern Ritters, most of the Stern Ritters don't really get a lot of backstory. Beside this, hardly any more of the 30 villains introduced were very interesting, and for the first time, none of the villains were framed as important rival of Ichigo or anyone else for that matter. Not all of the Espada were set up to be enemies of Ichigo.
No.
Usually you pick out one. Yeah, you pick out 1 or 2 that are like his rivals. In the Espada's case, it would be Grimjow Nukiora. For the Stern Ritter, well, one of them would be Uryu, because he's there. But yeah, I mean, maybe not as many. Maybe he doesn't have 2. Maybe just Uryu there.
I don't think Ichigo would have beat Gremmy, if I'm honest with you.
It might have been a close one because Kenpachi basically didn't really win that just himself. It was more of Gremmy not being able to contain the power of Kenpachi's...
His own power defeated him,
Yeah, his own power defeated him at the end of the day there, which is pretty much how everyone expected that fight to go. Because his power was so strong, it's like he's going to end up killing himself with that eventually at some point. But yeah.
That's predictable.
It is. Most baddies were defeated within the first major battle with no chance to establish themselves as a threat or garner interest in their personalities. I don't even know what you mean by that. They were defeated within the first major battle. What do you mean by the first major battle? Do you mean the first invasion? Because most of the Stern Ritters were not killed in the first invasion.
It was the Soul Reapers that got fucked over.
The Soul Reapers got fucked over. I think the only Stern Ritters that died in the first invasion were the ones that Kenpachi killed, were R, Q, and Y, and the other Y. That
Jerome,
Geisbat, O. No. Jerome Geisbat was R, but then Driscoll Birchie was O, and then Yamamoto nuked him. But aside from that, and the 2 Ys, I don't think any of the other Stern Ritters died in the first invasion. Maybe Shaz, but we don't talk about Shaz.
Yeah, Shaz isn't a thing.
Shaz, have you read the...
It's an imagination.
Have you read the... Yeah, I guess you've read the fan book.
Yeah.
I don't know. I mean, I was thinking, people are saying, do you consider this canon? I'm like, I'm considering it canon in the point that Kubo's never going to address Shaz again. So this is the most we're going to get. It's either this or nothing. So just, sure. If it makes you feel better, take the fan book, 13 Blades, and just, that's Shaz's backstory. I might make a video about that, actually. But whatever.
Isn't oh yeah, and Thing is a cyborg now, isn't he?
Izuru's a cyborg, yeah. That I can believe, because Mayuri is that demented to do shit like that, so I'm cool with Izuru being a cyborg.
Did you read 13 Blades?
I've just seen translated pages separately. I've never actually read.
He's on a bed, isn't he? He's on a...
Yeah, I have the picture. I have the picture on the scan on my computer somewhere. I've seen it, yeah. It was apparently supposed to be, I think, whenever... There was that one scene where in the manga where Akon was looking, and he had that hidden camera inside Mayuri's lab, and it was like all distorted. That was supposed to be the scene where Mayuri was working on Izuru on the table.
Which is great.
Yeah, okay. So I don't even know what you mean by most of the baddies were defeated in the first major battle. Even in the second battle, well, that was the second battle when they showed up after the, when they changed the Seirei over to their city. Even Uryu Ishida, a Quincy, a longtime main cast member who betrayed Ichigo's group to ally himself with his own people, has failed to garner intrigue. You'd think that it would be impossible given his dramatic potential, but Ishida has done absolutely nothing significant for the entire 3.5 span of the arc. He hasn't done very much, and that's pissed me off. What's pissed me off more is Ryukin hasn't shown up.
Ryukin. But then again, you could argue this with Naruto and Sasuke. We never really saw Sasuke for a long period of time.
Yeah, but in Naruto, there was a good, decent stretch of chapters, like when Sasuke was traveling around, he defeated Deidara, gathered up Team Snake. There was a good, like 60 or something chapters there that focused on Sasuke. We didn't really get anything like that with Uryu. And for the most of this arc, it's like he appeared in the very beginning, and then he's gone, and then we see him join the Vandenreich, and then he just kind of gone again, and then he shows up now. And the only thing that he's really done huge is that little confrontation they had on the Soul Palace when he shoots the arrow at Ichigo and tries to kill him.
I think Kubo's formula, he likes to show something and then leave it a very big amount of time, like with the whole thing with Grimmjow.
He's done that before a lot,
We're so kind of excited to see it, but we're teased. We're literally just cut teased throughout the entire thing. But when we get it, it's fucking awesome.
Yeah, he's done that a lot too, so it shouldn't be surprising at this point. He's shown... What was it? I think he needs to show a flashback of when or how Uryu joined the Vandenreich, how exactly they approached him. I would just, even if it's not that interesting, I just want to know how that went down. Or if he went of his own, I mean, if he went to go seek them out. And then what's up with Ryukin? Because we have an arc focused on Quincy, and the only two Quincy's we knew up to this point in the story before the arc started was Ryukin and Uryu. And Ryukin he showed up in the flashback with Masaki, but that was it. I'm like, what is he doing? Is he just like, I don't know, in the freaking hospital, just smoking a joint, just being like, I don't give a fuck. Okay, so last paragraph here, we see the image of Ichigo and Uryu looking all serious. Okay. So that's how Bleach has been for the past several years. Characters fight, characters die, and none of it matters. I have no words with that one.
Yeah.
Really. It's like, none of it matters, James. We've wasted our lives. I'm just
stop you doing YouTube. None of it matters.
Yeah, I don't even know what the fuck I'm doing anymore. I just need to start. I need to start reviewing Boku no Pico or something. Like I just start getting serious here.
You'll probably get a lot of views from that, to be honest with you.
I'm just gonna take all my Bleach. I'm just gonna take all my Bleach volumes and all my DVDs and all that shit and just burn it tonight. Yeah, it's not worth it. That is a massive subjective point. None of it matters. Well, none of it matters to you. Well, no, apparently something does matter to you. Something does matter to you because you wrote this big-ass article about it. So apparently you have either, maybe you wanted something more from it. This seems like somebody who was a fan a long time ago, and then shit went where it went, and then he hated it, and he just, pent-up rage, and then he wanted to put it out in article form, but okay. It's just hard, because I've never... I had over 700 videos. Someone might call me out on this shit at some point. But when I've genuinely just hated something, I've never made a straight up video just saying I hate it. I've even with the Orihime one.
It's not a form of criticizing. It's literally hate speech.
At some point, or just ad hominem attacks.
This does not fit in a reviewing standpoint, an impression standpoint, or a critiquing standpoint.
Yeah, the only thing I've ever maybe close to that would. Bleach Online, maybe, but I mean, I do it because
you have credited it.
Honestly, yes, there have been things in that game that I like. The art design's really good. So even with that, the only thing other I can think of is for my 2 years.
Trivia. Huh? The trivia in the game as well.
Yeah, that. And 2 years ago, I did a review of a manga called Hell Season, and it was absolutely horrible. It was like the only manga that's ever made me physically like almost throw up. It was so disgusting, and I hated that. But even then, well, I don't know if I don't hate, just disgust. And I did that for like a special like video I did. But yeah, those are the only times I've come to just straight up like hating a chapter. Just like most of the video was just me bashing the hell out of it.
Yeah.
But yeah, I always try to take away at least something positive from it. It's disheartening to look at the state of the series and remember how much better it once was. Not only has Bleach been consistently poor for a long period of time, but there seems to be no reason for Taito Kubo to change his formula now that it's nearing the end. In a way, it's admirable to see an artist with so much agency to do whatever he wanted. Nothing but fight scenes and new characters for years. Okay. But it's also disappointing to see him squander the storytelling chops he demonstrated early on.
And this one I didn't like because he kind of took it to a personal level of just saying, you know, this is Kubo's fault, this is how he intended it, and no, this isn't how he intends it to be.
And also, your style's going to evolve or change. Change at least. I mean,
we've seen his art style evolve tremendously.
It has. I mean, this is fucking what, 14 years now?
Yeah.
I mean, and this is true with any mangaka. You go look at Oda, go look at Kishimoto, and any mangaka that has a really long-running story like this. It's going to evolve and change. It's not going to stay the same consistent, way throughout the entire 10+ years it's going to run. In the end, it's probably better to remember Bleach fondly for its past rather than constantly struggle with its current reality. I'm going to wait until this final arc's done to make that a criticism. Whether or not like this final arc is like everything after the Soul Society arc is shit, and I'm just going to praise the Soul Society arc was great, Substitute arc was great, and they are like one of the high points of the series, and I'm not going to argue that. But this arc's not done yet, and we'll see how it ends out. And yeah, we'll just see. If you're one of the many,
we talk about like many of the stuff saying characters don't get a flashback until the very end. Granted, this happened with Komamura, but look how great Komamura was changed as a character during that fight with Bambietta. You truly felt something for Komamura, which you didn't before.
Yeah.
And the skill to do that as a mangaka is very fucking impressive.
Also, he went into more detail about what exactly Komamura was, which he might have not had, intention of doing that or whatever, because after a while you just start getting used to, oh, it's a fox guy, okay, whatever, dog, whatever. But, went into detail on what he was, and it did make you feel for him.
And this proves that he can do it. He can make a big change with a little time.
Yeah, don't make just broad generalizations like, oh, this whole arc is just shit. His style of writing is just degraded immensely. If you're one of the many people who drop Bleach, rest assured that you made the right decision. Hey, it's opinion based, but if you're saying that like you dropped. Okay, if you're saying it from this perspective, like, if you drop Bleach after Ichigo defeated Aizen, don't worry about it, because not a single good plot point happened since then. That is bullshit. Alright? Even the Fullbringer arc was not shit start to finish. Overall, not that popular. Shit did happen that was pretty damn interesting and did make you feel for these characters in that arc, and in this arc as well. Yeah, I mean, prime example of this, the Masaki backstory, the Everything But the Rain. That was done phenomenally. I love that.
That was brilliant.
I loved it. It showed the relationship between Isshin and Masaki, and the story of how they, ended up being together, and it told Isshin's backstory with the Shinigami.
Masaki's boob was on point.
It was. I remember that review. Damn, I was worried. I was worried I was actually going to get flagged for that video because I actually showed that. I had to put a censor bar over those freaking Jigglypuffs. But yeah. But yeah, I mean, if you've read, the stuff has happened that was pretty damn good, and since
that was detrimental to the story.
It was. That was one of the prime things that I think Kubo did a panel somewhere, and I don't have the references. I apologize, but he did bring up that someone asked him, what about Isshin's backstory, and then this was before the final arc got released, and then Kubo basically said, Isshin's backstory will be told, and like the entire room erupts in cheering because
that was in Germany.
That was the Germany one. Okay, all right.
The whole thing about the article truly is that I wouldn't mind it if it was from a opinion-based perspective, but I felt throughout the entire article it was presented in a what I'm telling you is absolute fact, and I don't believe it should have been on a most trusted anime news sites.
Yeah, because it's what it is. You go there when you want to find information on shit. I mean, if for example, if Bleach ever is coming back as an anime, this is the place I would go to read article about that. This is the main point of that, or either Crunchyroll. Exactly, yeah. This or Crunchyroll, I'd say, would be the two big ones. But yeah, I mean,
I think it's just using personal hatred to stir away possible newcomers away from the series, or people that want to go back to it after
Yeah, it's basically someone hasn't read it in a lot of years, and it's like, maybe I want to see what's going on with Bleach, and they would read this article and be like, oh my god, this is absolute shit. I'm like, no, it's not absolute shit. Trust me, it's not. If you were a fan of Bleach in like maybe the Soul Society arc or whatever, haven't read it in a while, or maybe you did stop reading after the fight against Aizen, I'm not gonna sit here and be like it's absolute gold. I've read better manga, but you will be surprised, and you will be honestly impressed by some of the scenes that happen. But honestly, this article just makes a lot of broad generalizations that I just don't like when you do this. When you're talking about a series that has so many chapters, so many characters, making broad generalizations about things, it doesn't make any sense.
I don't know if you want to edit this out, but the guy did a video on the whole perspective of what this is 2 years ago, and then he's just come back to it again with that same mindset, which I think was completely just, what was the point if you knew you were going to hate it from the get-go?
Yeah. I don't know, I might leave that in or not. But anyway, thanks for joining me, James.
It was a pleasure.
Yeah, yes. Maybe do this again sometime. Maybe possibly my internet was better. I hope when I play this back, everything's good. Your audio was getting kind of wonky there a few times, so I hope that doesn't get picked up. Hope it is all good. But yeah, maybe I can. We'll arrange to do something like this again. Let me know in your comments below. I'll put the link to this article in the description below as well. You can go read it for yourself. Once again, I'm not hating on this guy that wrote it. I'm not saying that it's necessarily a bad article. It has its problems, but it does speak the truth occasionally. Like manga sales diminishing, that is certainly fact. I'm not going to stand up here and like Bleach is still at its heyday right now, because it's not.
But it should have been handled better. Yeah, personally.
I mean, you don't even have to look at it like that. I mean, it's just like. The anime finished, so it is not as popular anymore, if that's just the case right there. But anyway, thanks for joining me. This will be Tekking and James signing out. Later, guys.